Welcome to Author Nation. This is your go-to podcast for elevating your author journey, and I'm your host, Melody Ann, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. As a vibrant part of the Author Nation community, we have resources for you no matter what stage you are in the process of writing or publishing or promoting your book. So head over to authornation.online to grab the resource that fits wherever you happen to be right now. All right, today we are talking about wisdom, actually one of my very favorite topics. When I learned the meaning of the word wisdom, it struck me so much that I made a decision at that time, I was probably 8, that one of my goals in life was to become wise. Don't know how well I've done on that, but today's guest is a wise woman, and I'm pleased to have her here. Let me introduce her. Anita Adams is a spiritual entrepreneur and an award-winning leader. She is the creator of the Wisdom Way method that teaches people how to harness the power of inner wisdom to create a life of meaning, well-being, and joy. This method offers a unique approach to overcoming fears, limiting self-beliefs, and how to find clarity to step into one's purpose with confidence. Anita teaches the Wisdom Way through her coaching programs, workshops, speaking engagements, on her podcast, The Joyful Journey, and in her new book, which we're going to be talking about today, Whispers of the Soul, A Guide to Clarity, Confidence, and Joy. When she's not coaching, recording, or writing, you'll find Anita walking in nature or exploring the world with her husband, who is also her best friend and partner in crime of 36 years. Let's welcome Anita. Hi, Anita. How are you today?
So good. So lovely to be here. Thank you, Melody.
Absolutely. So what I'd love to start with is a little bit about the Wisdom Way method. I'm really curious about that. So could you just tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. There are two ways of being in the world. There is the foolish way, which in fact most of us are most of the time, and that's where we're not really conscious. We're not living consciously and intentionally. And then there is the wisdom way, which is the conscious way of being. So the Wisdom Way method is a practice that helps you become very aware and conscious with your choices, all of your choices. And there are 3 guiding principles with the Wisdom Way method. And they're simple, which is, I think, key in anything that you're trying to do. Keep it simple, right? And it's look inward to really know thyself. Listen to the inner wisdom that bubbles up, and then learn how to be the best version of you, how to step into your highest self so you can create a life aligned with who you were really meant to be. So that's it in a nutshell. Look, listen, learn.
Yeah, I love that, because I've always thought of wisdom as simple, not complex. I think wisdom is what breaks down all the complexity and all that chaos that we think we need in our day-to-day lives. So I love that your wisdom teachings are that simple. Now tell us how the book fits into all of this. This brand new book, which is just about to launch. How does it fit into all of this that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's really the journey on how I learned the Wisdom Way. And in the book, I share my journey from that burnt out, stressed out, anxious woman who was so lost and confused and uncertain about absolutely everything to finding my way. And a big part of that journey came as a challenge, if you will, to step into nature for 30 days. And I did that. And it was through this daily practice of getting out into nature that I was able to quiet the crazy monkey noise that was going on in here and really connect with what was true and going on for me inside. And when I was able to quiet down the noise and slow down my being, and I took notice, I was able to really get clear on what it was that I want, why it matters, how to move forward. All the answers started to come to me, and I made some really significant changes in my life, including closing one business that I started and ran a nonprofit arts organization for 18 years. And I realized it was time, that I was afraid to let go of that business because it was identity. And I hung my hat up on that. And the idea of walking away from it scared the hell out of me. But when I got quiet and listened, I realized that was the right thing to do. It was time to move forward in another direction. And then I started listening to some more to find out what that next direction is. And it led me down this path.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to, pardon me, teach others how to listen to that inner voice of inner wisdom. And that led me to write the book, launch a podcast, host retreats, get myself certified as a life and leadership coach so I can really lean into teaching people how to create this life, how to create a life that is aligned with who they really are so they can find that clarity, confidence, and joy.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you talk about nature because I try to get out in nature at least once a week. I'm lucky. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I have what we call the North Shore Mountains really close, so I can get out there. But I do, I live a busy life, but I try to get out there once a week and slow down. And there's a lot that happens in that time. So thank you for saying that because I think that's a really fabulous way for people to reconnect with themselves is by reconnecting with nature.
Yeah, 100%. I talk about nature as being a sacred portal to your highest self. And you hit it on the nose. It's about slowing down. And when you do that, when you slow down and connect, the creative energy that flows through you is unbelievable. And it's you have your best ideas come to you when you're not sitting at the computer, when you're not trying to hammer out, the next thing. It's when you slow down and connect with your natural environment. That's when so much creativity can flow in.
Yeah, I love that. Brilliant. So your book, I know that it has many, many themes, many topics, and maybe you want to just kind of give us like a 30-second kind of what can we find in the book, but then I really want to talk about creativity.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So what can you find in the book? Well, it starts off with my story that I alluded to earlier, this being in this state of feeling the inner chaos, the inner turmoil, the uncertainty and the fear and not knowing how to move forward with my life. It happened at the same time at the beginning of the pandemic. And there's this outer chaos that was happening around the world, which was reflecting an inner chaos that was happening with me and my personal and my business life. And so the story starts there, and it takes you along a journey of how to find that clarity again and that calmness, how to move out of anxiety. And I share some of the challenges I experienced along that journey, and in the past as well. I firmly believe the journey we each take is that there's connection points, right? We are where we are today because of the things that have happened to us and how we are shaped by even the most challenging things in our life. So I pull on some of those experiences in the book because I believe that they have helped me understand inner wisdom, helped me understand the importance of slowing down and connecting and believing and following that soul voice. I have listened to that many times over the years. I might not have recognized what it was, before. Some of us may look at inner wisdom as intuition or, little nudges. We have different words for that, or guidance from God, comes to us in different ways. And so my book is all about that. At its core, though, Melody, it's about learning how to love yourself so deeply that you become unshakable in the pursuit of your dreams, in the pursuit of becoming the best version of who you really are. So it's kind of a love story in some ways.
A love story. I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you. And I wanted you to, talk a little bit about that before we jumped into creativity, because I don't want people to think it's only about creativity, because it is about so much more. But let's now talk about creativity. You talk about a 5-step process. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, my 5-step process is, and how to tap into inner wisdom, which leads to creativity, which leads to your highest self, starts by stepping out into nature. So the first step is to literally unplug from your computer and get outside. And the second step is, once you're outside, practice gratitude. Speak your gratitude. I like speaking my gratitude out loud. It connects you to the here and now, and it raises your vibrational frequency, your good mood energy. And the more we can raise our vibration, the more we attract that good stuff. So that also helps get you out of that monkey mind space. So step into nature, speak your gratitude. The third step is to connect with your environment using all of your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, feel, taste even? Sometimes when I've got so much going on in my mind and I'm having a hard time getting present, and this is the practice, is using all of your senses helps to really ground you and get you present. And if I'm feeling a little challenged with that, I'll pinch like pine needles. There's lots of pine needles in my area, and I'll smush them between my fingers and just inhale deeply. And it's interesting how that act just goes whoosh. I feel so grounded when I do that. And I'll spend just a few minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes, trying to just really connect with what's going on in my environment right now. Again, using all of your senses. And the fourth thing, once you feel that sense of grounding, and sometimes it might take longer to really get there, but once you quiet that mind and you're connected to your environment, that's when you go inward and check inward with your inward landscape, if you will, and ask, what do I want? This is such a powerful question. And some people, I had one client, she told me she thought that was a selfish thing to ask. It's not selfish. It's not selfish. We need to get clear on what it is that we really want, because we're bombarded by noise and what our society and our partners and our friends tell us we should want. So we need to quiet that, tune into who we are, and ask, what do I want? So that's the fourth step. And the fifth step is to simply listen without judgment. We have a tendency to want to attach meaning to things or judge things, or, when things bubble up, they might be something that's out of your comfort zone, and you might respond with, oh, I can't do that. That's not mine to do. We lean back. So at this stage, we just want to not put any judgment onto anything. So again, number one, step into nature, speak your gratitude, connect with your environment using all of your senses, ask your question. I generally like to start with, what is it that I want? What do I want? But you can literally ask anything. And the fifth and final thing is to listen without judgment.
Yeah, not lovely. I wanted to dig into that, what do I want a little bit. And I'm glad you said you can ask anything you want, because my question was, why that question? Why not what makes me happy, or what brings meaning to my life? Or, are there a series of questions you tend to ask yourself, or do you ask that same question over and over? Like a 5-minute journal, right? You pick one question, then you ask that same question every day in your journal for 30 days, and you write whatever answer is. So can you just dig into that a little bit
Yeah.
more?
Starting with what do I want is a really powerful place to start, actually, because what you want will dictate what brings you joy, where you find your greatest happiness, and all that. So I like to start there, and you can expand from that. We don't give ourselves permission to really explore what it is that we want, because we're, like I said earlier, we're so tied up in what we feel like we should do. So I recommend investing time with that question a lot and keep coming back to it, because it changes what you want. Sometimes I have to ask, is that what I really want? Really? Really, really? And just listen to the feelings too. When I say listen, it's more than just a voice. It's a feeling that you're really tuning into. So you can ask. So when I started asking this, and the whispers that first started to bubble up was that I wanted to close my business. And that's the business that I ran for 18 years. And I was like, what? No. No. I didn't believe it. And I had to keep coming back to that question, for almost 2 weeks. Is that what I
Yeah.
want? Really?
Yeah.
And just really sitting with it and feeling your way through it. And then once I was confident in that, yes, that is actually what I want, then I could start taking confident action forward with it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I love that you've said that. Thank you so much because we often ask ourselves a question, we give ourselves a pat answer, or we repeat what we've heard from somebody else about us, or because we grow up and our parents tell us who we are, what we think, and so it takes a long time to unpack that. And so, thank you for saying you asked that question for 2 weeks before you finally admitted to yourself that that inkling was true, right?
Mhm.
That inkling that you rejected was actually true and the best way forward. And I think that's really hard for people. So thank you for that. You're just about to launch, so I want to dig in on promotion because one thing I've noticed you're doing is you're working with partners. This is
Yeah.
something I'm often saying to other authors. Look, authorship is all about collaboration. There is no competition in the world of authorship because if you read one book in a genre, you probably read 10.
Mm.
So collaboration is one of the best ways forward, and that you're using it during your launch in a way that really speaks to you and your readership. I would love just to talk about that. I think people will find that incredibly inspiring. Can you give us a little brief on what you're doing?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So the idea is that we bring on partners that have something that offer a service that is complementary to what I'm teaching or what my book is about. So I've invited people that are in the spiritual or create or personal growth arena to be on board. And the idea is that they will promote my book to their network, and I will promote their services to my network. But we're all directly, all of my partners are all pointing to one page. So collectively, we're actually reaching upward of 500,000 people, which is pretty phenomenal. And the idea is that on my website, and you can go and check it out to get a better idea of how it works. And it's joyfulinspiredliving.com/books. You'll find it there. And if you scroll down on that page, you'll see information about the book, and then you'll see information about all my partners that are involved and the offer that they are giving to the people that are interested. So you might see like a free guided meditation. It's like, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. You click on the link, and then you're able to access that free guided meditation. So I believe I've got something like 25 partners that are all offering something a little different that supports either the personal or spiritual growth journey. And collectively, we're so much stronger together. And like you said, it's not competition. There's a lot of people on my list that are a lot of my partners that have also written books in the spiritual or wellness arena. So like you said, there's no competition. It's all about raising the collective consciousness, because that's a big part of my mission and the mission of the people that are on board. And we all buy into that belief and are supporting one another.
Yeah. And so if you want to learn more about Anita, you can go to joyfulinspiredliving.com. And if you want to see all those wonderful partners, it's /books on the end of that. So Anita, I have a question about that. When you started approaching partners, what was the response you were getting? What was the reaction around that?
Very supportive, very positive. So a lot of them got it. Some people didn't respond. That's expected, right? Like anything you do, you're going to get favorable response from some, and some people are like, nah, it's not for me, which is okay. And I think as a creative, you have to have a thick skin if you want to be able to promote your work, because you're going to just have some people either ignore you or flatly say, no, not interested. But as you keep proceeding with this, you also find people that are aligned with your values and what you're trying to do, and they do want to come in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, because I know people get really fearful around this. And
Yeah.
so, 25 people have said yes. It doesn't matter how many said no. 25 partners said yes. And with that, you are reaching 500,000 people. So where can we learn more about you? Where can we get your book?
My book will be available on Amazon, so that's the first place to go, and it's also on my website. You'll find links there, so you'll find out all you want to learn about me is on my website or LinkedIn. I'm also active on LinkedIn.
And so if you'd like to connect with Anita, you might want to head over to LinkedIn. At LinkedIn, she is Anita Adams, YVR. And just so if anyone's wondering, what is YVR, Anita, just let us know.
I think that's a locator. I set that up years ago, and it's like the Vancouver airport is YVR. So I was trying to place myself in Vancouver when I did that, but maybe it's time to change that. I don't know.
No, actually, no. I have to tell you, I love it because when I first started a local group of authors, I called it YVR Authors.
Okay.
Right? So I'm actually akin to you here. Right? We think the same way. You don't have to have a locator, but I had YVR Authors. That was the original name of what I was doing. And then I had, I wanted to work with authors outside of Vancouver, and I thought, well, I better change the name now. So I changed it to Author Nation. But no, I think YVR is wonderful. So Anita, thank you so much for coming on today. Just as a wrap up, can you give us maybe 1 or 2 or 3 quick action items for people to do right now? One will be go out in nature. But if they're just sitting at their desk and there's not a lot of, they've got 5 minutes and they're all over the place, how can they tap into their wisdom just in that moment?
Yeah, actually, there's a real simple little technique that I teach my clients. It's called the stop technique. And what I love about it is you can do this anywhere, anytime. And it literally takes maybe 2 minutes. And it's an acronym. Stop what you're doing. Take 3 deep breaths. Observe what is going on around you. And most importantly, what's going on in you. And P is to proceed with love. Whether that's love for yourself, often it should be, or love for the situation or others or whatever is happening. I love using this technique when I'm ever feeling frustrated or challenged about a situation. Just take 30 seconds and do the stop technique.
Yeah, beautiful. Anita, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a wonderful conversation. I'm super excited about your book. Can't wait to get my own copy. And thank you, and best of luck with the launch.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's so great being here and connecting with you and your audience.
Thank you. And so thank you for joining us today on Author Nation. We hope you found this insightful, both in tapping into your own wisdom and thinking about promoting or launching your own book. Now, don't forget to visit authornation.online. That's where you're going to find all those amazing resources that you will want and need for whatever stage you are in. And we value your feedback and we value your support. I'm here for you. So if this episode rang deep for you, please take a moment, leave a comment, leave a review, and even more importantly, share it with someone who will find it valuable. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you insightful content and serve the nonfiction author community. So keep writing, keep creating, keep sharing your stories with the world.